another episode of Inspired Moment with Jumoke. My name is Jumoke Olaguju, and this program is powered by the Inspired Design School of Fashion. We offer trainings in dressmaking, shoemaking, bag making, and it's all available online. In previous classes, I've been going in the last few classes, I've been teaching on different kind of undergarments. Okay, so we've done boxer, we've done panties, and today I just want to show us briefly how to make a very simple top bra or bra top. I call it a bra top because, okay, even though it will be fitted under bust and over bust, we're not going to be contouring the center front. We'll be making use of our basic bodice pattern. For those of you who are always running away from pattern drafting, I want to encourage you to learn it because it's very key to drafting perfect pattern for all sizes. Well, I could go on, you could see classes where I just put my fabric and just show you how to cut it. But to get a perfect fit and for you to be able to make for different sizes, different cup sizes, you need your basic pattern. It makes it easy without having to stress you much. Also, previously I've taught a class on contouring, the 7 contour guideline. If you have not watched it, please, I'm going to drop the link below. Make sure you watch it because it's the idea for the contouring that we'll be using for this. So this is going to be strapless. We're just going to be using a thin strap. I'll be using this elastic. This is the elastic, the laundry elastic that I use for the panties. I'll be using it for the bra strap. If you don't have a laundry elastic, you can use the material you're using. And I advise for the material that you use a very stretchy fabric. Okay, I don't know if this, I'm just using scrap fabric. So if the fabric I have here is not enough for cutting both the facing and the main pattern, I will have to use another fabric of another color but with the same kind of material for it. But let's put that on one side and let's work on our pattern. We're going to be making a few adjustments. Basically is we're contouring our pattern. Okay, so doing a few contouring on the pattern. To start with the front bodice, the first thing is to draw or to mark your bust radius. And you know the bust radius is calculated by finding the distance from the bust points to the under bust. So I'm using 3 inches. Remember that when we draft our pattern and want to draw the dart point, we usually come down by like 5/8. So I'm going to take it up again so that I can get my bust point. So this is where the bust point is. So from the bust point, I'll draw a circle of 3 inches, which is the distance between the bust point and the under bust. The under bust is that place where your bra ends. Okay, so 3 inches. So I'm not going to draw the complete circle because the contouring that I need to do, it has to do with this under bust area and then this top, and that is contour guide 4 and 6. That's what we're using. Like I said, if you have not watched the video on how to contour, as in a contouring guideline for bralette, for corset and all that, watch it before you watch this. So 3 inches. But that is not to say that you won't get what I'm doing here. You will still get it. It's just that you may not understand the terms that I'm using. So that's the arc, the bust radius or the bust arc. It's the same thing. So I'm not drawing the complete circle so that my surface will not be so rough. Then I'm going to do something here because I'm doing a contouring there too. Okay. the first one that I'm going to do, will contour the under bust. The essence of contouring is so that this place curves and the excess fabric is removed from the under bust so that it's not falling straight down. So what we're going to do is from the bust point, we're going to draw a line to this arc, and the width is going to be 3/8. 3/8. 3/8 is slightly less than half an inch. Okay, it's just by counting 3 lines on your tape. 1, 2, 3. That's 3/8. Okay, so it's somewhere here. I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, now that's the standard I'm supposed to use, because of the fabric I'm using is a stretch fabric, so I'm just going to go ahead and use half an inch. Okay, so this is half an inch, this is half an inch. Then I'm going to connect. Okay, alright, so the bra is going to stop on the bust, so I'm going to draw a straight line underneath my arc, which is the on the bust line. So I'm going to cut that part out because I won't be needing it. Okay. So also I'll cut out that for the contouring. Okay, so that's it for the under part. Now the contouring at the top. But before I do that, I want to draw the shape I want my bra to have. Okay, I can draw a straight line from here, as in on top of the line here, and then it will just be straight like that. Or I can do a curve. You come down as low as you want, at least up to the bust point, depending on how much cleavage you're willing to show. So I'm just going to come down by like 1.5 inch from the line here, from the straight line, from the bust part. Then I'll draw a curved line so that I have something like a princess, a heart shape at the front. Then at the side here, I'm just going to freehand it and take it to the end of the armhole. If you like, you can make it come lower, but it's okay here. Then at the side seam, I'm going to remove the side ease so that it's fitted. So on the side here, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. Okay, then connect it to the side here. Now for the contour guide 6, so that this upper part is fitted and is not just dropping. The standard is 7/8, but I'll be taking 1 inch also because the fabric is stretching. Okay, so from the bust points, I'm going to draw a line to the mid shoulder. That's where the guideline for sits, contour guideline 6, that's where it sits. And then on either side of this line, I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay. So basically that's it. First, I'm going to cut this out. Okay, cut out the side piece. Then here now, I'm just going to cut, okay, any of these lines. we're not cutting it through like this, then I overlap it to close that mark. Okay, so where's my tape? Alright, so this is our pattern. This is our pattern. Once this is stitched, you're going to have your cup, and this will be cut on fold. Remember, this is our center front. Let's mark it. This is center front to be cut on fold. Center front. Okay, but also if you like, you can separate these two pieces so that there's joining here. You just have to have your seam allowance. So let's put this on one side and then you work with the back. So I'm going to match it up so that okay. I think let me just tape it together. Alright, so for the back, we're going to also take in the contour guide 7. That's the only contour guiding at the back, okay, apart from the shoulder slope guide. And since we're not going all the way, there's no strap, we don't need that. So we're going to draw the horizontal balance line, which usually when you are drafting is dividing this length here to here into 4. That's what this is. Then I'm going to draw a straight line up to mark the intersection. Okay, so simply the way you take in your guide, I'm not sure that line is straight, is to draw a line straight from this point to the end of the dart leg on both sides. So it doesn't have a particular value, you just draw it this way. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm going to mark the underbust area, as in where my bra is going to end. It's going to be the same with what I have in front. So now I have to decide how high or how low I want it here. So this is the center back. At the center back here, I just want to use like 2.5 inches. So I'll connect it to this side with a slight curve. If you like, you can use a straight line. I prefer a curve. Okay. So first, I'm going to cut out this excess, the darts. We're up to the point. I don't need the upper part, so I don't have to worry about that. Then cut out the down part. Okay. Then I'm going to join this together. So basically I've closed the darts. If we are making a regular bra, usually this one will be lower, as in the length will be shorter. It won't be as long as that. So I think it's slightly longer than each other, so I'm just going to blend this. Okay. So this is my pattern. Now I can use this as just one piece so that there's a closing at the center back here, or if I like, I can separate it so that there's a joining at the side seam. So I'm just going to look at my fabric. If I have enough fabric, I doubt it. Okay, but I can still do let's see, okay, it's not long enough. let's say this one will be enough, otherwise we're going to separate it. Or we can put our joining at the center back and also center front. Okay, it's still not enough. So what do we decide? We can make a join, let them be joining at the center front, and then we'll join it also at the center back. Or I can separate it and put my joining here at the side seam here, so that the back is separate, I cut the front also separate. Any one of the two methods works. So let's see. If I want to put a joining at the center front, I'll just put my two fabric on top of each other like this and cut. This is a pieces of fabric, so it's not so equal. They're just leftover fabric. And that's one of the joy of making stuffs like this. You get to make use of your leftover fabric. So here at the center front here, I'll be putting my seam allowance, but because this fabric is stretching, I'm not going to put seam allowance, so I'll just cut it like that without seam allowance. So when I'm stitching, I'm taking ½ inch. I'm not also putting any seam allowance here. But if you are using a non-stretch fabric, you must put your seam allowance, and then there must be a closure. The reason we're not using any kind of closure like the like hook or anything for this is because the fabric is stretchy, is elastic. So I'm not cutting out the darts yet. I'll prefer to just stitch it without cutting. Okay, before I remove it, I'm going to mark where my dart is. Okay, so I'm marking the midpoint of the darts. And then I'm taking note of the length and the width of the dart. So the length of the dart is like 3 inches and the width is 3.5. So make sure you take enough dart, otherwise the half will not be correct. So that's it. So let's cut the lining piece. I have my 4 pieces cut out, and remember, even though I did not add seam allowance on this side and this side, you have to add a little bit of seam allowance between 1/4 inch to ½ inch to join it at the top part and at the lower part. Also, we're going to mark where our strap is going to be. So where's our leftover pattern, the one we cut out, you know. So the strap is going to be on, will be placed at this point where we have the what's it called, the line that joins to the shoulder line here. So that's where the front strap is going to be. I'm going to cut it out, as in I'll snip it to mark that point. And for the back, it's going to also be at this point where we have the darts, the joining. So I'm snipping that also. Now, also for the length of the strap, this is how to calculate it. I'm going to take the line from here to here, measure it. So I have like 6 inches here. I'm going to add it to what I have here from the shoulder point here down here. So I have 16 inches total from the front to the back. But because this is also an elastic, remember when we're using elastic, we usually cut, you multiply the 16 inches by 0.85. So whatever you get is what you're going to use for the length of your elastic. And also, I'll be placing this at the down part here. You can also place it on top, as in at this edge. I don't know if I have enough laundry elastic. So, but the other part here is very important because you want to also use it to make it firm at the underbust. There's another elastic, laundry elastic that you can use, but it's black. That's why I don't want to use it here. So let's go ahead and stitch before we get to that other part. So what I'll do now is to take it 2 pieces. So right side on right side, I'm going to stitch the center front. That is, if you do not cut your center front on fold, but if you cut it on fold, that means there's no stitching. You just go ahead and take in your darts. So stitch this and take in your darts. So let's quickly do that, and then I'll show you the next step. Right, so I've taken in my darts, and the way I did it was to take it a little bit up. Okay, I'm able to do this because, well, the fabric is stretching. Otherwise, this may shorten the width of this plate. But as it is, because of the stretch of this fabric, I already have excess. So I just took like 1/4 inch from the top, and then when it gets to where the dart is supposed to start, I just curve it to the dart point, and then taking the center front, do the dart, and this is what it's going to look like. You see, you already have your cup. Okay, if you're looking for something that is going to stand on its own or that is padded, before you start stitching and taking in your dart, you should cut your pad. But this is not going to be padded, it's just a simple bra. So the next thing is to attach our strap. I've cut it out, so I've done the 2. Okay, I've attached 1. So this is how we're going to attach. Make sure that your strap is turned correctly. So I'll just place this here. I want to make sure that the ruffle is on the outside. So I think it's this way. This is the right side of my bra, right? So on the right side, I'm going to place the strap, whatever kind of strap you are using. So you stitch it to that point. Turn it correctly, and then stitch to the back side. You know, we've already marked where it will be also on the back. So if I want a little bit of kind of give it a little bit more structure, I can also take in a little bit of straight line. I'll just take this part before I join the strap. This part, I'll just stitch it down. So in the case where you are using boning, these are the points that you attach boning to. So I may just do just that. Also, because you know, I didn't take that into consideration when drafting the pattern because I'm using a stretch fabric. You know, but you know that you may want to use this design as a top part of a dress. So if the fabric is not stretching, you make sure that you have the seam allowance. So instead of joining these pieces together when we cut our pattern, you can just separate it, as in, you know, separate everything. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead of having that long one piece like this, you have 4 pieces. And when you cut this out, you had your seam allowance. You cut this out, you had your seam allowance. You had your seam allowance. That is, if you're using a non-stretch fabric, and then this place also. So once I take that in, I'm going to stop stitch on all the lines just to reinforce it. I'm not using padding, I'm not using boning. Okay, so once I've done that, I'll place this right side on right side. Make sure the strap is not caught in between, and then you stitch on top. Stitch the top, then I'll stitch the down part, cut off an inch seam or whatever seam you left. Okay, so then we'll join the back together. But okay, before you join the back, of course you would have turned it out, but first let us stitch the top part here, stitch the down part, then we'll turn it right side out, then you can continue from there. So it's all turned, and you will notice I've also top stitch on both edges. So this is it. This is a very simple bra. If you want it to be padded, you can pad it. You can put ready-made pad, or you can use padding for it. And also for this back, you can add that bra hook. Okay, or if you like, you can put it in front, any which way. But what we are doing, because this is stretching fabric and it will be easy to wear, I'm just going to seal the back like this. So this can serve as a regular bra, something easy to wear in the house without any extra padding, or you can use it even as a bikini top. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do now, after joining the center back, I'm going to use this elastic on top. So at the down part here, I'll be stretching the elastic. So I'll just place it like this and be stretching it so that this can be a little bit firm. It will be firmer, it will hold very firm under the bust. And then I can also put it here, but it's optional, okay, just for decoration. And also you can stretch it a little bit also, so you can just come this way, or if you want it upward. So basically that's it, and your bra top or top bra or bikini top is all ready. Well, thank you for joining this class. I'll be uploading more beautiful videos. I encourage you to please subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of the next uploads I'll be making. Also follow us on Facebook and on Instagram at The Inspired Design. We also have a Facebook group, The Inspired Design School of Fashion, where you can share your work, your project. You can share with us, and we can also learn from you. Well, until next time, keep practicing and stay inspired. Bye.